welcome to Unit 5 of Methods of Teaching Chemistry. This unit is about teaching aids or resources. In this session 1 of Unit 5, we are going to look at definition, importance, and selection of chemistry teaching aids or resources. Let's proceed to look at our objectives. By the end of this session, you should be able to define a teaching aid or resource, state at least 5 importance of using teaching aid in teaching of chemistry, and state at least 5 principles that should be kept in mind when making selection of teaching aids for use in teaching a particular chemistry concept. Now, every teacher would want a student to understand and show mastery of concepts presented to them. And so a teacher will sit prior to the lesson presentation, prepare, and then select a number of strategies he would use to present the concept effectively. One other side that the teacher in this case would have to pay close attention to is the teaching aids that he's going to use. Now the question is, what is a teaching aid? Teaching aid is what the teacher prepares or uses to make learning easier than it would have been without it. So here we are talking of the models, the charts, the pictures, the improvised materials you are taking to the classroom in order to help you explain concepts better to your students. And these things, when they are not present, then students will struggle understanding the concepts you are presenting, and even teaching becomes difficult without these materials, especially in chemistry. They are used to facilitate the learning, understanding, and acquisition of knowledge, concepts, principles, or skills by a student. Alright, so now that we know what teaching aid is, let's proceed to look at the importance of teaching aid or resources. One is that they are effective motivating agents. Now, they make the lesson very interesting to the students, and students get to understand very well. In that case, they become motivated to learn concepts presented to them. Also, they help to bring clarity to the subject matter. Imagine teaching qualitative analysis in the classroom and then telling the students the solution terms white chalky PPT, white gelatinous PPT, and all those stuff. There is no clarity until students actually see what you are talking about. And so when we use the materials to support our teaching, the materials would bring clarity to the concept you are presenting to them. Sometimes when you are describing the process of doing something, or if a concept requires describing how to do something, and you just describe to the students, it's most of the times not very clear to them. But if you describe whilst doing, or you describe and you show to them, then every confusion will be settled, and there will be more clarity to what you are presenting to them. Teacher can win the interest and attention of students by making use of teaching aids. Imagine selecting some aids that students will have to even manipulate, interact with them. They become very interested and they focus, or you get their attention. You get their rapt attention. Okay. Sometimes even at the sight of you, the teacher, bringing those materials into a classroom alone, they become very interested and they want to see how you are going to use those materials in the classroom. And if you're able to use well, they will pay close attention, they will become interested, and their interest will be sustained throughout the lesson, especially if they are to manipulate such materials as well. And then they save time and energy of students and teachers. Sometimes the solution to the problems is just showing them or buttressing the teaching with the material. It saves time and energy. Some of the concepts you would describe and describe and describe, explain, yet they would not understand. But if there are materials there to show, you wouldn't have to go that far. They getting the materials, showing to them, and even when they have to, engage the materials, they would understand from there, and you wouldn't need to invest much time in explaining principles and theories. So it saves time and energy of both the students and the teacher. As you, the teacher, spend a lot of time explaining, they are also spending a lot of time listening, and they are struggling to appreciate. They provide permanent and effective learning. When they are motivated and they learn with interest, then effective learning will take place and it will remain in them throughout. Okay, so those are some of the importance of using teaching aids. Now you're going to select aids to present to students. There are certain factors that you should consider in the selection. What are some of them? The aid should have a relevance to the topic to be taught. The aid should be something that will help in the delivery of the very concept you are going to present to the students. It's not that because you are to go to the classroom with teaching aids, if you are teaching more concepts, then you are going with materials on mass spectroscopy. Then the teaching aid wouldn't serve its purpose. They should be simple. Don't go with something that is very complex that even assembling the materials alone will take a lot of time, or even students reading the materials alone will take so much time. It is something that is very simple. At every point in time, you may be presented with some materials to select from. Go through and then see which one that is very simple to deal with. The teaching aid should be easily available. Select something in the environment of the learner that is easily available. Though not all aids will be easily available, but if there are, or in a case where there are simple, easy ones around, just use them. It should also have some specific educational values, and the aid used should be interesting and motivating. If you are not careful to use, select some aids that as soon as students see, they become demoralized and they lose interest. Select those ones that are or that students will find much interest in. The aid should take into consideration students' characteristics. Your students do not share the same characteristics, and when you go to a classroom, you try to diagnose these characteristics so that you know the characteristics of your students. And in selecting the aid, you should take into consideration such characteristics. Don't select aids that students will not understand. Check and select those ones that they would appreciate. We are ending this session with these self-assessment questions. We'll meet again in the next session. Thank you.